Okay, so today we are going to go ahead and make a bird rattle, and I'm going to start by taking off maybe 1/3 of my clay. This will be my head later, and I'm going to set it over here. The rest of it, my biggest chunk, I'm going to go ahead and roll into a sphere here. I'm going to roll it into a sphere, make it nice and kind of squish it together, compress it a little bit, and then once I have a good shape, I'm going to go ahead and take my finger and a little bit of water. I'm going to start to smooth the outside so that I don't have any major cracks. If I have a few little ones, it's not a big deal because we're going to be moving it around a lot, but I don't want any major cracks to kind of interfere. All right, that's not bad. Now I'm going to go ahead and start by putting my thumb on the inside, and I'm going to start to pinch. And what I'm doing is I am trying to make this kind of into, oops, I went straight through, didn't mean to do that. The nice thing you can do is kind of put it in. So I'm going to kind of pinch until I have kind of an oval shape in the inside. See my oval shape and how it's kind of like I'm pulling it out this way. Now I'm going to go ahead and kind of pinch around the outside, but as I do that, what I'm doing on this side here is I'm pulling the clay towards the back so that I have the body of my bird and the tail of my bird. So this part is my body and this part is my tail. And so I'm going to kind of pull my clay and kind of pinch it. And this part I'm pulling up. So when I'm pinching with my fingers, I'm pulling this way. And on this side, when I'm pinching with my fingers, I'm pulling back. So I'm kind of pinching it to come this way. Okay, and so you'll kind of have a shape that looks kind of like this. And I'm going to go ahead and close up the tail here, just by kind of pinching it together here, so that I have a bird body, which is kind of an oval shape, and I have a tail at the end here. And every bird looks completely different. So if yours doesn't look just like mine, is that okay? Totally. It's completely fine. And I'm just going to take my fingers and kind of spread it out. You'll notice I'm keeping 1 or 2 fingers on the inside to kind of help me to keep it from collapsing while I'm smoothing it, because I need the inside to be hollow in order to make a rattle. Okay, so I'm kind of just pinching it around and moving it around. You'll notice I got a little hole there. See my little hole? So I'm going to go ahead and with my finger on the inside, I'm going to hold it still, and with my finger on the outside, I'm going to go ahead and smooth that down until I have a good little shape that I like for my little bird. Okay, now what you're going to do is you are going to take either with the tissue or with the brown paper, the paper towel that you have at your table, you are going to take and roll out, let's say 4 or 5 little spheres. I'm just cutting off like 4 pieces off of this, and I'm going to roll them into little spheres like this. 1, and these are a little big, you can go smaller for sure. Oops. 2, 3, I can even make more than this. 4, 5, 6. You want them to have room to rattle though, so if you know that you only have a little bit of hollow space inside your bird body, then you don't want to fill it all the way up. Once you have your pieces, you're going to rip your tissue or your paper towel, either way, it doesn't matter, and you're going to wrap it around and roll it, because you don't want the spheres to stick together, or else you won't get a rattling sound. And you're going to drop it right inside your bird body. Okay, I'm going to get another little piece. I don't want too much either. I just want a little bit, enough to kind of cover the outside. Roll it around so the clay sort of sticks to that paper like that. And I'm going to go ahead and throw it in. Another little tiny one here. Roll it around. I don't want them to stick together. If they stick together, or if there's not enough space inside of there, what will end up happening is that my my bird won't rattle. And some birds rattle and some don't. It's just kind of the nature of making these. Some of these work really well as rattles and some of them don't. Throw it in. I'm going to make 2 more here. You know what? That's plenty. I don't want to do any more. I think that it would be full. I'm going to take that one and squish it back. And I'm noticing that I'm getting a crack developing right there, so I'm going to go ahead and take my finger with just a little bit of water and smooth that out before my crack gets any deeper. Let's smooth it in a couple different directions to make sure I don't have a crack develop. Okay, so I've got my spheres inside of there. I still have some room inside of here so that hopefully after we put it all together, after it comes out of the kiln, it will rattle for us. All right, now I'm going to take my other little piece here and I'm going to go ahead and roll it into another sphere. And I'm going to make another pinch pot by just putting my thumb in the middle and pinching up. And this time I'm pulling the clay towards my thumb. You see how I'm taking the clay and pulling it down? So I'm kind of pinching it towards me. And what I'm doing this time is I'm making the head of my bird. So I'm going to pinch it out, pinch it out, pinch it out, pinch it out. And this will become my little neck here. Okay. Yep, that's working. I think I want my head to go slightly more this way. So with my finger on the inside, with my thumb on the outside and my fingers on the outside, I'm going to start to kind of push the clay in that direction. How's that? That looks a little better. All right, and then in order to make these two things stick together, I'm going to score. I'm going to scrape it all the way around the outside here. And then I'm going to score here, all the way around the outside of my pinch pot. And slipping and scoring is really important to make sure the clay bonds together. If you don't do this, your bird's head will fall off. It's really important. While I'm slipping my bird's head too, I'm also pulling the clay out. You'll notice I'm pulling it out, so then when I go to put it on, I have more to set down. I have more to set down there. If I were to push it in, it might get collapsed inside this hollow, and I want to keep that hollow open so that my bird will have enough space on the inside. Okay, so I've kind of pushed it out, and that's the scoring part where I make my scratch marks. Now I'm going to add my water all the way around the outside edge. And I'm going to go ahead and put it right on top of my clay there, of the body. And I'm going to go ahead and take my tool here. Then I'm going to start to blend the two edges together. You can do this with your finger too. Some people like to use their finger, some people like to use their tool. Whatever works best for you, but I want to make sure that I don't want to collapse it, but I want to make sure these two things kind of blend together so that I don't have a big line there. If I have a big line there, what would happen is I might develop a crack there as the clay dries. And cracking is the enemy of good sculpture. Okay, so I have them kind of together now. I'm going to take my finger now, I'm going to smooth it out. Mine's still a little wet, so I don't need to add a lot of water right now. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and smooth it out, smooth it out, smooth it out, smooth it out, smooth it out. And if you have a little extra clay here, you can go ahead and pinch a little beak onto the end there. Or you can wait till next week to add one. Either way will work. But what you want to do right now is kind of get the shape you want. Next week we're going to add our wings, we're going to add some details on, we're going to carve into it a little bit. But right now what I'm really looking on is making sure that I'm getting the shape I want for my bird. Whatever sort of shape I want to have a good bird, that's what I want. When you think you have a pretty good shape, I want you to go ahead and get in line, and I'll put your name on the back. On the bottom of the bird, so that next week we can go ahead and start adding our detail.